Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are seeing my face for the first time, my name is Misoma and I'm a fifth year medical student in Nigeria. In today's video, I'll be talking about my study methods across the years. It will be like a question and answer session. First question is, how did I study in my first year? The study method I was using in my 100 level was what I was using from secondary school, and that is reading all through the night. Then the second question is, what study methods completely failed? So my first study method, which was reading throughout the night, that was a complete failure. Then the second study method that failed me was passive reading, trying to read um a topic like three times or four times. During my 200 level and 300 level, it became impossible because there was a lot of things to read. Okay, the beginning of my 400, 500 level, during my radiology posting, I tried Anki cards. That's review of Anki cards, Anki study method, but that also didn't work for me because it wasn't helpful at all. I feel like Anki is when you want to recall specific information. Anki study method is not actually for reasoning, for clinical reasoning. So I think these are the study methods that actually failed me. I've tried and they didn't work for me. Biggest study mistake in my early years, like I said, trying to read throughout the night. So the next question, how has my study routine changed over the years? Okay, my study routine in 100 level was basically come back from school, then do everything I want to do. Then by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., I should start reading. Then I'll read till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. depending on when I'm tired, but I make sure to pass 2 a.m. Then I go to sleep and wake up and continue my activities. Then in 200 and 300 level, when I started anatomy physiology, my study method was I'll come back home and read, then sleep. I sleep around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Then I'll wake up again before I try to wake up by 12 a.m. That's my 200 and 300 level. I try to wake up by 12 a.m. Then I read till 4 or 5. And some days I actually wake up by 12 and I don't sleep again till I go to class and come back. But in 400 level, I intentionally and actively changed my study routine. We had classes from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the evening. So what I usually do is that from that 8 to 4, I can be reading in between free time or something. But then after class, I don't come back home. I stay in school and read till 6 p.m., sometimes 6:30, sometimes 7, and then I come back home by that time. And when I come back home, I don't read again. I do the activities I have to do, personal activities, and then I go to sleep. Then I wake up the next, I can wake up in the middle of the night and do some reading, maybe around 12 or 1, do some reading till 2 or 3, then go back to sleep. Then in 500 level, I also decided to change my study routine. I've not gone half of my 500 level. This is I think this is my fourth month. Sorry, this is my sixth month in 500 level. I started 500 level in January when I started my 2 months lecture posting in ONG and pediatrics. I come back home by 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. and I have a study routine on my wall which I use. And that study routine, my time starts from, I have to start reading from 6:30 p.m. every single day. I start reading from 6:30 and then I read up until 9 p.m. Then I say my night prayers. If I still have time, if I still have strength after saying my prayers for that night, then I can read till 10 p.m. But the rule is that I must be asleep before 10:30 p.m. That was what I've used throughout my ONG postings and my pediatrics posting. And this is the study routine I use currently. So the next question is, when did I realize I needed to change my study strategy? So my study strategy has always been rereading the topic over and over again, because what you read over and over again, you're going to remember it. It's going to stick no matter how tough it is. So that has always been my study strategy from secondary school to year one, year two, year three. But then I had to, in my year two, year three, after my MBA exams, I had to actually review my study strategy and figure out that what I have been doing is no longer working. I need to figure out a way to stop that rereading of a thing. I have to actually change that study strategy of trying to read every single time. The next question: what study techniques helped me retain information further? So the study technique I use to retain information is that, one, I make sure I understand the topic. I make sure I understand the topic. That's the study technique. That's the most important thing I do. The first time I'm reading something is to understand. The first time I'm sitting in class listening to a topic, I make sure I understand what the lecturer is saying. How do I balance lectures, personal study, and exams? In medical school, we have exams. They still expect us to pass these exams. They still expect us to read. They still expect us to do a lot of things. So how do I balance them actually? The first thing I do is, like I said in my previous question, I make sure I pay attention in class, because if I pay attention in class, I figure out that if I pay attention in class, then reading the slides after the class is going to be so much easier. So I made it a point not to try and sleep in class. So I always try to be awake in class, even though sometimes I still sleep. Then secondly, I tried reading the topics before I went to class, not reading using textbook, but I use ChatGPT to just run through the topics for that day, and that's it. So that when I get to class, when the lecturer is teaching, I'm comparing it in my mind. I'm trying to compare it with what ChatGPT said and try to pick out points. That also helped me to retain information. Then the third thing I do is that I make sure to read my slides that day. Sometimes it's impossible because sometimes the slides are so much. I also do past questions, which actually helps me for exams. So this is actually how I balance the lectures, this my personal study and exams. What resources have helped me the most? So resources, I think videos actually helped me in pharmacology, in pathology. Videos didn't really help me like that. I don't really learn with videos. So the resources that I believe that helped me the most is actually past questions and also GPT. So the next question is, what does my current study routine look like? I think I already answered that when I was answering my study routine over the years. So the last question is, if I had to start medical school again, how would I study differently? If I have to go back to year one, how I'm going to study differently is that I will actually put more effort in understanding what I'm reading. Finally, we've come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video.